Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome. The topic for today's discussion is pearl culture. We all know pearl is an expensive, most prized part of our jewelry department, right? So let's start. Pearl culture is the process of rearing or stimulating mollusks, particularly oysters and mussels, to produce pearls by inserting a foreign substance such as mother of pearl bead and a piece of donor mantle tissue into the mollusk's soft tissues. The mollusk's mantle then secretes layers of nacre over the irritant, gradually forming a pearl through a process that mimics its natural defense mechanism. So if you take a look at this diagram, you will understand this schematic representation shows how pearl is formed. The first diagram shows us the entry of this foreign body. This foreign body is generally a parasite or a grain of sand. In the natural process I'm talking about, it is generally a parasite or a grain of sand that enters into the body of this mollusk, particularly oysters and mussels. This oyster starts secreting a layer of nacre around this foreign particle as a defense mechanism. You see, this grain goes deep inside the mantle and the diameter increases. Finally, this forms the pearl. Now, there are 6 important species of pearl oysters that occur along the Indian coasts. Among them, the most important ones are Pinctada fucata, Pinctada margaritifera, and Pinctada chemnitzi. The other species are also here, but the most important ones are Pinctada fucata and Pinctada margaritifera. You need to know the names, the scientific names of these pearl oysters. Now we'll talk about the formation of pearls. As I was just now telling you, how is it formed? We'll take a deeper look at it. Pearl formation is a biological defense mechanism. Definitely, if a foreign body enters into our system will try to protect its own self from that. So pearl formation is a biological defense mechanism where a mollusk, like an oyster, secretes layers of nacre around a foreign irritant. That irritant can be a parasite or a grain of sand. This is done in order to protect itself from harm. Now, over time, what happens? These concentric layers of calcium carbonate and conchiolin build up, forming a smooth, lustrous pearl. The process is a natural defense with the quality of pearl depending on the consistency of nacre layers, the size of the pearl, its shape, luster, and the presence of any blemishes. Now, when you go to a jewelry shop for buying pearl jewelries, you will definitely look for a bigger sized pearl. It enhances the beauty of the jewelry. Then you will look for a lustrous one. You will look for a pearl that has got no blemishes on it. So all these will determine the price, the jewelry value of the pearl or the value of the jewelry. India has one of the highest demands for pearls for setting in jewelry. The pearl oyster fisheries are located in 2 main areas. You should know the names of the 2 regions where pearls are harvested and they are found in India. The Gulf of Mannar of Tuticorin coast and the Gulf of Kutch on the northwest coast. Now take a take a deeper look, an attentive look at this diagrammatic representation. You see the mantle here, the grain enters from here, the foreign body enters from here, and the nacre is secreted all along this. Gradually, the big-sized pearl is generated. This is the way how is it formed. You can also prepare this schematic representation or flow chart for exam purposes. So first, what is happening? Irritant intrusion, a foreign object, example a grain of sand, enters a mollusk's shell and lodges in its soft tissue. Then, to protect itself from the harm that the foreign body can cause, the organism will start secreting the nacre, and this will give us the pearl. It is called a pearl sac, which is formed around that irritant. Next, coming to nacre secretion, the epithelial cells of the pearl sac secretes nacre, a material made up of calcium carbonate and protein called conchiolin. Finally, the growth happens layer by layer. The nacre is deposited in concentric thin layers around the irritant, and over several years, probably 2.5 to 3 years, these layers of nacre accumulate, forming a smooth, iridescent, and increasingly larger pearl. Now, this is a natural process that happens naturally without intervention of man. But since man has found profit in it, man will have to exploit this to income revenue. So now we'll talk about culture of pearls. How is it cultured? These are the steps. The culture of pearl is a complex but sensitive process. It involves the following steps. You first need to collect the oyster, then you prepare the graft tissue, then the nucleus is prepared. Nucleus means that foreign body which is going to be inserted around which the nacre will be secreted and deposited, then implantation, then rearing of oyster, and finally harvesting. See here. Pearl oysters are collected from the bottom of the sea. This is not an easy task. It is a tedious one. You and I just cannot dive into the ocean and collect it. So this needs a lot of it has a protocol to it. It needs a lot of attention. It needs a lot of skill. Good quality pearl oysters, healthy pearl oysters are collected from the bottom of the sea. Then what is done? The piece of tissue which is inserted into the oyster is called graft tissue, that is cut off from the mantle of another oyster. So another oyster is also playing an important role here. What is it doing? It becomes the donor. It donates the graft tissue. A nucleus, that is a foreign material which is usually 2 millimeter in diameter, is inserted into the oyster. Then see, a small incision is made on the foot on which the graft is implanted. Obviously, when you're implanting something, an incision or a cut has to be made. Otherwise, how are you going to insert it, right? The operated oysters are placed in cages, and the cages are suspended in rafts in the sea. Now, after you operate the oyster, it has to be maintained with a lot of care. Hygiene has to be maintained. Otherwise, what will happen? Fungal infection can occur. So this has to be kept in mind. After 3 years, the oysters are removed from cages and the pearl is harvested and marketed. So this is how pearl culture is done. Now you see this, how beautifully the pearls are formed. Okay, so thank you so much for your kind attention. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. We are very soon going to meet with another interesting topic. Till then, bye-bye. Let's just bring it to your notice. Our next topic is this. In our next lecture, we will talk about prawn culture. But till then, thank you and bye-bye.